What happens when you get three photographers in one room and all they can talk about is politics and the cost of fine art? Let's find out. This is our third episode of My Viewfinder. I'm just going to quickly mention Alvin's in short shorts to show off his fucking thighs. I saw every muscle group.
I just came from... I just worked out, dude.
I've crushed my face between those, please. Holy
talking about oiling up. He just struts across the video feed.
I'm trying to be a muscle mommy right
Humble
now.
bragging. Fucking
I'm in my muscle mommy era.
Classic himbo energy.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Before we get too sidetracked, Danny, you got to quickly introduce yourself because we didn't have you on this podcast yet.
Yeah, hi. I'm Danny Luong. So I'm a guest, an uninvited guest on Mokinstis here in Calgary. It is something that a lot of my work reflects, and yeah, I don't know, I won an exposure award this year.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's the small low-key flex.
Exposure being the Calgary Photography Festival here, yeah.
Damn, even I didn't win an exposure award. The fuck?
Yeah, well,
you just won one with me calling out you exposing yourself on the video feed, so
yeah, that's right.
You can have that exposure award.
Wow. Working for exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so today we wanted to talk about consumerist, capitalist, commercial fine art and photography. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what we want to talk about.
Speaking about awards and photography festivals. All right, so I guess before we get into just random opinions, I have been learning about some of the brief overview of the history of art dealing. So we won't go into it sequentially because we're not art historians and it doesn't really fucking matter. But we know that mostly art, capital A art, as a profession, really start off with commissioned works with private collectors in the church, etc. And so you actually got painters who are able to feed themselves, allegedly, being paid for art. And then you get private dealers. So what I read in the 15th through the 17th century, we start developing the private dealer as its own adjunct profession and the development of speculative selling. So we're no longer dealing with art as a commodity of labor. We're already talking about it as a investment in future bourgeois fucking I don't know, wealth, right?
No, yeah, you got the right idea.
So the interesting thing for us as photographers, because photography as an art form doesn't happen until, late 19th century, but really selling it is like 20th century stuff, right?
Very nascent.
I read, it's kind of fascinating. So this book I'm holding, which I kind of scanned, is called Rogues Gallery. I just got at the library, but it tracks some of the major players, Dervine and all these guys. But the one I want to focus on is the guy that made Sotheby's, because Sotheby's is so big right now with all the fucking Banksy and NFTs and all that shit. They seem to be...
What is that?
Sotheby's.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
The auction house.
Oh, like the auction house?
Yeah, so they're they're the focal point of the top end fine art world now. But there's this guy, which I thought was really interesting. Peter Wilson. So Sotheby's was like a intermediary pure art house where art dealers would come and hawk their wares and they would get like a fraction of the percentage off the sales. But this guy, Peter Wilson, comes in like 1930 something, and then he goes to the war. He was a spy for England. And when he comes back and takes over Sotheby's, he realizes we need to cut out the middleman. We need to build up our own storehouse of art and project our own profitability onto it, which is why Sotheby's now dictates the value of fine art instead of just being a go-between. So they're not an auction house. They're actually an art dealer. And so that's where photography comes in, because that's around the era where people started spending money on photographs, proper like Andy Warhol money, right? So, I just thought I would frame it that way to start, because I've been reading a lot about that, and the two essays I posted on Discord just about, the influence of problematic capitalism on our chosen profession, if you can call it that.
Profession.
So... yeah, what's the first question? Like, what's your relationship? Danny, you're active right now in the Calgary photography art scene, and Alvin and I have both participated in the past. But Alvin and I start off this season with our disenchantment with it, and you're still engaged. So maybe you can start and tell us why. Why the fuck are you submitting shit to art exhibitions, man?
Why? Well, I mean, the first self-serving thing is like you have to get a CD, right? You gotta, if you want to like, I don't know, like after transitioning from being like normal worker drone guy with a fucking resume, I wanted to join the art world because I wanted something different. I wanted to see what the other side was like, dip my toes in or something, right? And I'd gotten a lot of already like emotional and support from a lot of my friends and family saying like, my work is good and stuff like that. It should go and be places, So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a serious shot. I will try my best. And dip my toes in, get in there. And I've quickly been finding that I'm getting like pretty ultimate jaded too. No one. Like one of the struggles that I had is like, I'm starting a new project right now on Vietnamese gangs here in Calgary, specifically during like the 2000s era of the FOB-FK war.
Yep.
The big gang war here in Calgary. Yeah. So I've been kind of making this little project about it, going out, shooting locations where the 25 different murders happened from 2002 to 2010. Going out on the day that they died. I have one actually tonight. Yeah, tonight at 8:20 p.m. I got all the information from the Calgary police. I did all myself. But, I wrote a grant to try and get some money to get paid to go out there and do the work, But I kind of got dressed down by one of my good friends, and her name's Teresa, and she was just telling me about how, like, the grant writing process itself is kind of, like, extremely flawed, and getting this money is, like, there's, like, all these unwritten rules. Like, I can't ask for subsistence and pay myself as well. You know what I mean? Like, because that's like seen as kind of like weird and too greedy. I don't know what it is, but it's an unwritten rule, right? So there's like these weird unwritten rules in the art world that after someone explains them to you, you're like, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But as a newcomer, like you'll write a grant because you're like, well, yeah, I would love to have subsistence. Like my projects themselves don't cost that much, right? Because I have my film, I've bought my film through connections, through people selling film. So like I have a stockpile that I shoot through. So I don't necessarily need to put that into the cost, right, of making work. But
you should.
Right. But and this is the other thing, right? Like, and every time I'm talking about grants with people, lots of people are always like, yeah, you should pad it up. You should make sure that you're putting all your costs in there, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, at some point for me, it just feels kind of like disingenuous. And then I kind of lose any will or drive to want to do it, because I'm like, well, like none of this matters anymore. I'll just go fucking do the work. And kind of what Teresa said to me, which I agree with, is like grants aren't good for people who are going to do the work anyway. You know what I mean? Like, because like what a grant's really looking at when they're looking at and judging your application is like, will this happen without or without the money? Like if it won't happen without the money, right, then they're more favorable in giving you the grant. But if, for example, that this is likely a thing that's going to happen anyway because you're driven and you're passionate about the projects that you want to do, like I am, then they don't necessarily care.
Before I throw it to Alvin, I think you should get a broader range of opinions about grants. That is pretty narrow. I've taken some grant writing courses and I've gotten some grants. One of the biggest piece of advice I got is to remember that grants are not about art and are not reviewed by artists. They are provided by financial institutions and people who are looking to either promote themselves as a social enterprise or to get a tax write-off. And so the sort of implied pressure of what we believe art to be actually has zero factor in how these things are awarded. So yeah, keep sweating it. I don't know. You should get paid.
Well,
ideally.
I mean, before Alvin gets in here, it's just like, for me, like what kind of ended up ultimately happening was like, I don't know, I just kind of got disenfranchised with grant writing, didn't give a fuck anymore. And I just felt like it wasn't kind of central to my process. Like I was going to make this work fucking regardless. And the work that I make is getting attention anyway. So whatever, I'm just going to do me, and doing me right now is just like looking at these grants is like a fucking headache. It's a fucking nightmare. It's like, holy God, like I don't want to deal with this shit. I don't want to so I went and I got a side job, and when I'm doing the grind again, so I'm working and that's going to pay for what I want to do, and it's just like, like that's gonna like arguably like how most people are gonna live, right? It's like you're gonna work a side job, then you're gonna do what you actually want to do.
Okay, so let me ask Alvin, as our resident communist, although I think I'm getting more radicalized than you. I'm reading too much fucking
Hey,
garbage
I'm
lately.
pretty.
I don't know. But like, so we have a couple concepts. I mean, art, selling, we should get back to, but Danny's struggling with identifying himself really as a commodity. No?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything he said. I personally haven't. I don't think I've ever applied to a grant, aside from, for college or whatever. But yeah, like that kind of what Danny said kind of sums up my gripe with them. Because even when I did exposure in 2017, I remember having to give myself an intro and to write about the work. And even that was really exhausting for me, because it's like I just want to do the pictures and kind of let the work speak for itself. Like I don't want to have to explain any further or try and sell myself. But I did. and that was a fucking headache. That was more effort than doing the body of work itself.
Yeah, I think that pressure, as I'm learning, is the, let's call it schism or the conflict or the paradox of our idea of art as a principled emotional and spiritual act, and then art as a business, which, as I'm learning historically, is not about a commodity, but it's speculative. So, like we want to make money either with street photography or with Danny, with some of your more abstract art, or it sounds like you're a photojournalist right now. How do we turn that into money? Because we're still inside a society that we need to fucking eat and sleep somewhere. I don't know.
I don't know. Like this is hard. Like I only just go with like kind of some of the stuff I've learned from friends too, where it's like for me, what honestly always feels the most comfortable is like trying to divorce my practice from money as much as possible. Like, because like money is just ultimate root of perversion. Like it destroys relationships, it destroys people. So it's just like I understand what you're saying. There's a basic level of like you need to eat, sure. And like for example, the frame that I made for exposure, right? Like another thing that I've been kind of tracked on is like how do I make art affordable for people like me? Like how can I get people like me to buy art? And it's just like one of the ways that's kind of made sense to me is like just pricing my art at ridiculously bottom barrel fuck prices. Because like I don't care. I want someone to have this that like wants to have it.
Yep.
Like if someone sees it and they're like, holy shit, this speaks to me. Like this is hitting like all the vibes. Like I want this in my home. I'm honored. Like I'm fucking like, wow.
Well, let me be the capitalist cynic and say that's the exact reason why you're not making any money.
Right. Certainly. I understand that. And so like,
it's a problem. It's a problem. And we don't agree with it.
Well,
that's the game, right? We're in the game. I'm reading this Zizek book, and like one thing he's right about is that we can't be outside the system, right? We're fucking on Discord recording a podcast. We're a capitalist, right? As much as we don't like it, we're privileged. We're all in a house, right? We're able to post shit on the internet. We don't live in a third world country. We can drink off a tap. So I don't know. I'm just wrestling with this problem that I think I've been really naive about this shit. I'm not sure.
To go off on a bit of a tangent, yeah, like we do live in a like
privileged,
capitalist, a capitalist structure of the economy and society, but like it's still just because we live in it and we operate in it doesn't mean that we can criticize it.
Oh, we should criticize it, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how do we exist in it with that critique?
That's hard. Like unless there was. Oh fuck! I don't want to have to say this, but fucking People's Revolution or some Mao shit, right?
Yeah,
like,
Rise
like
up
a cultural
and grab your gun,
revolution,
brother.
Well, the problem with that is you're not wrong. Is that the trick of rich people right now is they give us just enough sustenance that we have nothing to revolt about.
They sprinkle the crumbs, right? Yeah. And then you're just like, all right, I'll fucking take it. It could be better for everyone, but right now, like I gotta worry about me because that's the system that we operate under, right? It's not that people are greedy, but the system encourages you to act in greedy ways.
Absolutely, completely agreed with that.
Yeah. Or it doesn't encourage you; it coerces you. I should say that.
Yeah, coerce is a great way to put that. 100%.
So, like within going back to the context of art, otherwise, there's a different style of podcast, but it's the same conversation. Like, what are we supposed to do then, guys, as photographers?
Yeah.
Right?
So like,
what's the point of keeping pictures?
Well, why do we do a podcast, right? Like, are we trying to make money off of it, or are we just trying to like share ideas?
I'll tell you honestly, if someone will pay us for this shit, I will gladly take that fucking money.
And hey, that's great too. But like right now, we're sharing ideas, and
I'm here to shoot the shit as a voice. Like I'm fine with that,
And as of right now, like that's the thing that we're kind of operating under, right? We're just operating under vibes. I think art should ultimately be treated in that same fashion as well, right? Like I have a lot of books, and I'm gonna say I bought a lot of books that I did not enjoy because I was told that it was gonna raise up in value, right? And these are the books that I do not. I actually fucking don't like looking at these books, like
collectibles.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's seen as a collectible, but it's like, do I enjoy it? No, not really. Like I would like this would much rather be better off with someone who will enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
and I have done that.
But here's the thing: those people do not enjoy it for its content. I think this is the point. Like, so when I was in my late 20s, I started getting into buying like first edition books off of this reseller in America. I never took them out of the fucking bag because they'll start to disintegrate, right? So then the question was, why the fuck do I have this thing that I can't read? So it's the same idea, but the concept is that in 10 or 15 years, I could try to auction it off and make an extra $10 off it. In the wider scale of fine art, that could be 10 million bucks. But, isn't that our naivety that you bought a book because you thought the content might be good, but the reality is it doesn't exist for that, right? It's not there as a picture book. It's there as a brick of gold. Maybe I don't fucking know.
I don't know. Sorry, my brain just shut off when you said I can't read, and I thought of like this Leia Michelle joke about like how she can't read, and I was just thinking, oh, like I wonder if Leia Michelle collects books even though she can't read.
Maybe, yeah. Nothing makes you look smarter than a full library, bro. Like I used to have one.
That's true.
I mean, many Billy bookcases full of shit.
Then you got to move. Then it feels bad, But I'm gonna trace it back to the frame real quick and kind of like recontextualize this question a little bit, or this kind of topic, back to art. So like the frame, for example, that I had at Exposure, I wanted to sell it for $44.44 because my favorite number is 4. It's hella cursed, and I love that, So that's what I wanted to sell it for. And then the buyer, one of my friends, right? He was like, "I'm not like if you give me to me at that price, I'm giving you a G. So give me like do not fuck with me. Like don't like it's worth way more than that, and we both know it, And I was floored, like I was like, and I think like that's kind of partially maybe an answer, right? It's like, you like, I feel like if I price myself at these ridiculously low prices so that my work is more accessible for people who don't have the means, right? Then, if they can and want to pay more, they will, if they're honest about it.
Isn't there a conflict? Because clearly this is somebody who suggests they have the means.
Right, exactly. which is in of itself at least is like there's a naked honesty to it, and which I can respect and appreciate,
Well, here's the thing. Like I know that you did you get it at an auction or did you find that frame?
I thrift all my frames from the Women in Need shelter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But like Alvin and I were talking about, and you've done this too. When you do fine art printing, your baseline cost on a gallery photograph is going to be $500-600 minimum. Right.
Oh yeah.
And then if you're doing what you did and intentionally breaking that fucking thing, there's actually an added cost to do that correctly if you're doing the fine art.
Sure.
So how do we put those things together? Because not everybody's going to go to Goodwill and make an art project out of a found frame, right? Like if Alvin, even the book Alvin made with the B-boy culture thing, there's a minimum
Cypher?
price. Yeah, there's a minimum price for the production of that publication. Yours too.
Sure.
Like was it yours that was handbound by your friend? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, fuck, dude. Like that. If you become famous, that book becomes worth thousands of dollars. Right? It's weird. It's a weird thing to think about.
Actually, what brought me a lot of peace in this, I don't know, but I think it's worth throwing into the conversation is like my extremely fundamental like extremely Buddhist aunt, like far right Buddhist, like militant Buddhist aunt.
I like the idea of a far right Buddhist. That's great.
Oh yeah, they exist, my guy. They exist. They're fucking hella militant. We kind of sat around talking one day. She lives in America, and I kind of like have just been kind of getting around to my relatives, and they're finally starting to really understand what I do as an artist. And you know, I still struggle with that term, but you know, I told her like, this is kind of what I'm doing. Like, this is me. I'm an artist. This is kind of what I want to do work in, right? And she looked at me, kind of gave me a funny, weird look, and then she smiled and she said, "But like, well, that only means that you're only going to be rich after you die." And I thought that was kind of perfect. You know, as a person who spent a lot of time depressed, and like kind of searching for a way out sometimes, it was like, there's like a deep poetic beauty to that to me, where like, I don't get to enjoy this lifetime. You know, maybe I get to enjoy it after, you know, and like, that's kind of cool to me. Like, I enjoy like that for some reason brought me peace. Cause I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. After I'm fucking gone from this mortal coil, maybe these will be worth something. And that's sick, you know?
It's 18th century romanticism.
Oh, absolutely.
Romanticism.
Certainly.
It doesn't exist anymore, right? Pop art fucked that up. People want to be celebrities while they're alive. Look at Beeple and who's that fucker with the Instagram that takes shit pictures and he's got like a million
Humans
plus.
of New York?
I can't remember. As Donna was showing to me, and he sells his car. He took a picture from his iPhone of his fucking steering wheel and apparently auctioned for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a fucking joke.
I think and did they actually print out the Instagram
Yeah.
frame and all that shit?
I think so.
Like the system UI?
Well, not the guy.
Oh,
There's
fuck.
one guy who stole other people's Instagrams, but this guy does his own. But anyways, whatever. Yes.
Same shit.
something.
Same shit,
Yeah.
ultimately. Yeah.
Yeah, and put it up in a gallery, and you know, I don't know, man. Like, are we romantics? Is that the problem? Are we living in a bygone era?
I don't know. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I care about like that term either. It's just like, I want to be authentic to myself, and I want to make work that's authentic to what I want to make, you know? Like, so like, I think like staying true to like the pillars that, you know, make you want to do and make work in the first place is important, you know? Like I said, like for me, like the fundamental thing is like, I want to make work about our marginalized societies, you know? I want to make work on the fringes of gang culture, drug culture, you know, of things that I'm a part of that I get to see. And I think, you know, in 20, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, when capitalism is finally fucking gone, people can look at these photographs and be like, this is what people had to do, you know, to make bag, you know, like to get it, you know, like how, like, and this is the shit that they had to go through every day to get a bag, you know? So it's like why are we living for a bag? You know, like it fucking doesn't matter, you know, like,
Yeah.
I think that's, like, for me, the relevant part of historical documenting that we're doing, right, is like documenting living in capitalism while it's still here, you know, because I think genuinely we are eventually, slowly, snail's pace, not people's revolution's pace, moving towards a system that is kinder and friendlier. But
the contradictions are showing itself slowly but surely.
Exactly. Like this is just like the quote from Nero Automata always gets me. It's like, this cannot continue. You know, like this just cannot continue. Like wages are so low, rent is so high. I have boys who are like struggling, who can't make $1,600 a month. You can't find a place in Calgary under $1,500. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking insane. You know, so like the cracks are starting to show. You know,
cracks are showing for us at the bottom.
Yeah,
but the people at the top don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you know, like,
but
you know where
that's
I
a
live.
lot of people.
Alvin's
at the bottom,
come to pick me up. You know, my neighbors do not give a fuck about what you're talking about.
I live in Forest Lawn. I can pan out right now and I can show you a homeless encampment.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, I want to agree with everything you guys are saying, but you know, like you look at the art market. This other article was talking about how the art market has been impervious to financial collapse. So, like through 2008, there's another collapse in 70. Oh, Jimmy Carter, so 70, 78 maybe, or 79. You know, everything fucking drops. People are starving on the street. Art market completely unaffected, with the exception of like individual artists maybe that relied too much on contextual evaluation. But the art market as a whole, you know, you don't see Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa take a 60% hit in the mortgage crisis of 2008, right? So there's something weird about that. Even gold goes up and down, and art doesn't. It's a weird thing. I don't know. Capitalism is a weird problem. But it affects us as artists. Like Alvin and I don't don't know, but if you started taking pictures, but I can't take a picture anymore, man. Like
I'm actually taking the least amount I've ever taken in my life.
Yeah, but you're on a project, dude.
Yeah, but right? That's like really like I'm like I don't know, again, photography for me is like a way for me to deal with a lot of my own personal shit. So like it's fucked, and this is its own conversation, but I feel like the happiest I've ever been, and because of that, I'm not making as much work as I usually do, and it creates its own turmoil and conflict within me. Like, do I only take good pictures if I'm fucked up? Like, what? So.
Okay, well, let me throw a hypothetical then. Like, let's say, for whatever reason, let's say your Instagram page falls across the desk of a private gallery here in Calgary, and Johnny Gallery calls you. And he says, or they say, I want to represent you. So for a 60-40 split, like you take the 40, but I'll cover the production costs and put this in front of some rich white people in Calgary. Are you going to say no to that? Out of principle?
No. Because yeah, sure, there's principle, but there's also getting your money, like you said, like we still exist in a chronological like context of like existing under capitalism. And this is kind of one of the things that I talk to some of my friends who are like run a lot or play in the music scene, are in bands and stuff. Like, should you open for like a white supremacist group? Like, or like one that's rumored for
no,
right, certainly. But as an artist, I can also respect other artists being like, I need to make money and eat, so like I'm gonna take this gig, but these are not my stances, and this is not what I support. You know what I mean? So like I like there's got to be room to go get your money. Like, and no one should judge you for that. Right? The issue becomes if you make all your art about making money.
But isn't that what happens after that?
I mean, to some people, sure. But it's like, I mean, I can't say it won't happen to me, but like, like I would hope that I could stay true to my principles and be like, no, like you can represent me 60-40, cool, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I expect the creative freedom to continue to do that. And if you're not going to give me that, then I won't sign.
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know, Alvin, what's the most expensive piece you sold? You don't have to give a number, but I don't know.
I'm comfortable with that. It was the exposure piece. It was $444.44. Because like that was the next step. It's like, well, it's not going to be $4,000 and 44 cents.
Maybe one day, but
maybe.
What about you, Alvin? Like, when was the big sale last?
I sold one of a handmade darkroom print of. It was framed and everything, right? Like professionally framed from a store we're all aware of. I sold that thing for about $600.
All right. So if we can,
and I felt bad selling it at that price.
Well, this is the thing. Like, so based on anecdotal memory, it just is a thought experiment. There's no way, unless we kept a diary. Did that negatively affect your output? Because I know it did mine. As soon as I sold one of my big acrylics for a bit of money, everything became about chasing an image that I thought would be marketable. And then it fucking corrupted the idea of why I was even taking pictures. Never mind, all the other, drama and all that shit. It's like, I've begun to realize, thinking back, that I was starting to think, like, if I can't sell this picture, then why am I taking it in the first place?
Yeah, that's never happened to me. And I think I have a couple safeguards in place because, again, I already intentionally priced my shit extremely low, right? And so it's never usually affecting that. When it does happen, and like it's a decent, I will say, like, I sold a set of 3 prints for $600 as well, but that's like then $200 each frame, so not necessarily into the equation. But that was also a large purchase, and like for me. Like, it doesn't affect me because generally the people who are buying these things are like excited and want to buy it. And that means a lot. Because I mean, like, to me, the whole pleasure here is like to be seen, right? Like if someone sees you and sees your work, that's always this beautiful feeling. That's like kind of undescribable. Like I can't really put it into words.
It's very validating.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very powerful for, a bunch of men who have been oppressed, so it's just like when you get to be seen, you're like, wow, like, thank you, like, what an honor, like, thank you, so like that helps me the most. And again, like, just intentionally making sure that my stuff is and always will be like affordable, because that's what matters to me. Like, even my process of printing, like, I don't go to that store that we all know of anymore. Like, I just use the connections I have, the people I have, and I talk to them and I spend time with them and they make work with me, and like, that's kind of where I'm at now. Instead of like going to shops and stuff, it's like I reach out to my network of, close friends, family, and, see what we can do, what we can make. Like, I want to put a show in a nail salon here, right? Like, pretty soon. I don't know how soon is soon. I still got to talk to the guy, but there's other Vietnamese people who want to get involved now because they've seen my work at Exposure, and like, that's cool. I want a nail salon show because I think that's fucking hilarious. Like, it's
speaking of racism.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's like meta. It's contextual. It's about how I'm always serving this invisible white audience. So it's like, how do I talk back?
That's really fucking dope.
I don't know. What about you, Alvin? I mean, what is it that
that still drives me?
Yeah, or what's holding us back?
Well, okay,
if it's not finance, or maybe it is. I don't know. What are you feeling?
I don't know. Like, I'm still taking photos of my kids. That's like my bread and butter.
Pause real
I'm
quick.
not sharing.
Like, your photos of your children are absolutely incredible, and I just need to say that it needs to be on the record.
Oh, thanks, man.
Like, truly, when I see them, I feel
Danny's
blessed.
going to afford you $444.
Yeah, you want it? I'll send it to you, man. It's all good. It's cursed though, and I don't want to curse your family. So,
like, speaking of like monetizing my kids or whatever, like, there was one point where, when I was doing the kiddo project, like, I had this like big idea for it, where for context, like, I made a project called Kiddo. This was like shortly after I had kids, and it was really based on the idea or feeling or nostalgia of growing up as a kid. Like, I wanted to make the project seem like the feeling of being a kid was being projected. So I took photos of my kids on the streets, right, when they were doing something, like, really innocent, really naive. And then I slapped that together with like pictures that my kids drew. And
incredible.
I had this whole,
by the way, incredible. I saw Kiddo, and it's
thanks.
Phenomenal.
I wanted to make it into like almost like a kid's book, where, like the Eric Carle books, where it was like thick cardboard paper and like potentially some like sliders here and there. I wanted to make it like that, but obviously you need money to like make that type of book. And I wanted to make like 20 copies. But the minimum you need is like, I don't know, like 500, and that costs about like that costs a lot of fucking money, right?
Yeah,
that's like.
And then you got to think about like, how are you going to move 500 copies? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. This is where you apply for a grant.
Yes.
Well, I still have that. No, like, not even like I still have that issue with Cypher. I still have a box of fucking like 200 like not even 200 copies, like 350 copies, because I only moved like 25 in total.
And like, I'll make this point right now. Like, I don't know if there's any emerging artists or stuff like kind of like listening to us or whatever. It's like, I think one of the best things you can do is like intentionally do lower print runs, because like, if you sell out of like 50 copies, you sell out of 100, like 20 copies, you feel good. Like, it's like, wow, like there's like, like when you're sitting on that extra stock, sometimes it can kind of haunt you. You know what I mean? And like, kind of like dredge in your brain and be like, yeah, dude, like it sits there and it's like fucking this emotional baggage that's like, you know what I mean? Like,
you need a higher production capital cost. Like,
you just need to start off with capital. Let's start there. Like, let's be real. A lot of like successful businesses like started off with a lot of capital.
You need a seed. You need a nut. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess like my issue there too is like, when you start saying you need a higher production capital, when you start saying shit like that, my brain blanks and I'm like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I don't want to think about shit.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
Danny, like, if we reflect, not in, I mean, this is a bit of a critical way, but you have the privilege of somewhere to fall back on.
Sure.
Like, if you fuck this all up, your parents, still have a place for you to fucking sleep, whether you want to be there or not.
Sure.
But if you're like, I've met a lot of people that are completely properly alone.
Right.
They do not have the ability to say, well, I'm just going to do this for the principle of it. And if I starve to death, it's fine. That's not, it comes from a position of, frankly, capitalist privilege, because we do have, I live in it, man. Like, when my magazine died and we stopped getting paid for the podcast, and I couldn't do other things. I mean, I got sick. I have come to realize how much I rely on my parents, my wife, even my kid, because if I'm completely by myself, I can't even take the risk of running 50. I can't. I can't afford it, man. Like
I
I was
mean,
printing those magazines at like $1.50, $2 printing cost. Never mind not being able to pay my artists. I can't even put that money in, man. It's tough.
I get you. I feel you. There's a thing that people are always saying in art is it takes a village, right? It absolutely takes a village. And I mean, like the biggest thing is like you have to go out there. You got to make connections. You got to make family, friends that are like going to care and like want to participate in some way. You know, that's why literally all three of us are here, you know, because like I believe in you, man. So like I like what you're doing, you know? So like here I am, you know, spilling my guts on this fucking microphone for no fucking reason, for no one to listen to, which is fine because I'm here to shoot the shit with the boys and that's cool.
Exactly.
But like I certainly understand what you're saying about like a privileged fallback position. But again, that's why I'm saying start low. You know what I mean? Like if you start low, there's way less chances of you getting hurt. If you print 20 copies and you sell all 20, then you in good faith maybe do 40 next time. You know what I mean? Because you know that you can do 20. You know, like start small. When I shot my first fucking wedding in Calgary, I shot it for $500 on Kijiji. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't know what the fuck I was capable of or where to price myself or what the fuck was going on. I just know I needed to make fucking money because I got a university degree and I didn't get a fucking job after. You know what I mean? And I was depressed and I was like, holy Jesus God, what am I going to do? You know, so I put myself out on Kijiji. I shot a fucking wedding for $500. Then I told myself I'll shoot the next one for $600. And I grew like that. Just $100 each time. And I fucking did 12-hour days, you know what I mean? And then like, you know, weeks of editing, right? And it was never worth it, but I was scared and I was tentative, right? I wasn't sure this was going to pan out. You know, I needed to dip my toes in. So it's like, start low. You know, you don't have to dream of the sky first.
What I'm going to do, I'm just going to wait till I die. And,
Hey, that's wisdom, my guy.
and then I'll see what they do about it, right? They can just like put it in the photo album.
Vivian Mayer.
Because I'm too lazy to. I'm too lazy to print it into a photo album. So I don't know. Maybe they can like find some cool shit and be like, let's put it on Flickr.
There's an anecdotal story about this Peter Wilson guy at Sotheby's. The first private sale he did, he took a fucking massive hit, almost got fired. So he tried to do an exclusive agreement with this artist and wanted, I don't know, 10,000, let's say, because this artist was also talking to a private art dealer. And then he came back and the artist's like, no, I want 15,000. It kept going up. Eventually he agreed to, let's say 30, but he ended up only selling the piece for 15. So he took a huge hit and Sotheby's was really angry. But to your point, Danny, there's like an establishment piece where he takes the gamble on how to build up because in hindsight, a $50,000 art piece is a joke nowadays. So it's interesting.
What's this guy's
also
name?
The opposite. Peter Wilson at Sotheby's. I was told the opposite when I started out. I was given the maybe poor in hindsight advice of setting a market price from the beginning, which, you know what? Like I'm listening to you, I'm thinking maybe that was the already poisonous first step I took in looking at this work as a commodity rather than, you know, some art. I don't know.
I mean,
whatever you want to call it.
Like, there's a couple things to add here, like that I've been meaning to say too. Like, first of all, like as much as we do participate in that market, we don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not that market, that art market, that high art market is as currently unattainable to it. It's just copium, right? Like, it's like something to fuel your fucking dreams with, to be like, oh, like maybe one day, right? Like, because right now we don't play in that. You know, we're not playing in that, you know, like, so like to like just start immediately associating yourself with that is like, to me insane, like to me personally. And like, I don't know, I heard this so much too when I was first starting out. People were always like, you know, if you price yourself low, everyone's going to remember that. You know, there's price memory on your work because it's not valuable. And then like for me, you know, and kind of what Alvin's saying too, right? Like this whole death thing, like your work will be valuable after it dies. It's like, to me, like, man, like, you know, like, I don't even feel good about myself. So, you know, I'll just make work. And if it sells at all, that's a blessing, you know, like, holy shit. And then that obviously feeds back into like what you were saying about like, we'll take the crumbs. But my guy, like, we've been eating crumbs our whole lives. Like, I don't even know what a proper loaf is. You know what I mean? So like, I'll take the crumbs and I'll thank you for them. You know what I mean? Like, cool. Appreciate it. You know, like we don't play in that market. So there's no point in like trying to pretend you are, you know? And for me, when I price my stuff low, I don't mind being remembered as a guy who made inexpensive art. You can call it cheap if you want, and there's negative connotations there, but like Asian people are cheap as fuck. So whatever. You know?
It's not about cheap. Maybe it's the only thought I was having while you were explaining that is, if we want to participate in that top level culture, other than having to become a great essayist about our own work, do we need to chase it? Like, do you need to door knock galleries, or do you think it's something where you need to be discovered inherently? Accidentally.
I think you just need to know some fucking rich person to be able to get your foot through that door. No, because that was the vibe I got, especially when I did the that portfolio review. Like a lot of like bougie fucking art gallery owners just like looked at the work and like criticized it to a point where it wasn't even about the work anymore. It was about the methods. Like, oh, I think you should like turn the photographs into illustration. And it's like, okay, like I don't care about your opinion now. Like this isn't constructive. Like I'm gonna do me.
Yes.
And clearly this is something that you don't fuck with. So like, why are we even talking?
They're trying to criticize you on how they needed to sell it rather than what you did.
Yeah.
But again, like it's because everyone's got these like egregious, dream of participating in that market, and like my portfolio, I've only ever had one portfolio review. I've talked a lot with a lot of my community about portfolio reviews, and we genuinely believe that like portfolio reviews are good for some artists for sure. Certainly if you're looking for a level of critique, but a lot of times it's like, it's good for people who, and this sounds extremely harsh, it's good for people who don't have like honest friends to talk to about art. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have a close circle of friends who participate in making art or doing art, it's hard to get a real crit of your work, So like that's totally understandable where a portfolio review comes in really handy, right? But for me, like I think the most negative thing about a portfolio review is that, especially for emerging artists, like for emerging people, like you still need to find your voice. You still need to find like kind of like what your style is, what you're doing, why you're like behind the lens or doing what you're doing, and so much of that is so formative to like the work that you're going to create that like letting someone in and meddling with that early, I think is dangerous. You know what I mean? Because it just fucks shit up. It sets these weird expectations. And like to be perfectly frank, the one and only portfolio review I ever had, the panelists told me to submit to Vietnam. They didn't tell me where to submit in Vietnam. They didn't do any research about art in Vietnam, but they just said like, we think this work would be really strong in Vietnam. And to me, that sounds like a cop out and a fucking joke. Vietnamese photographer in Canada should submit to Vietnam. Tell me where. Help me. Well, like what?
Fuck, that's so
like I don't know, man. Like I'm not trying to out them or whatever. It's just like, man, like I was choked, my guy. Like I was like, dude, like what? You know what I mean? Like that's what I should do with my work. Like again, if they had done some research and they were like, hey, like we know some establishments in Vietnam that we think would love your work. Like you should try submitting to A, B, and C. But no, they're like, no, like you should just submit it to Vietnam, as if like an entire country filled with millions of people isn't like, how do I, where do I start? Like
you guys are a monolith, Danny. Don't you know that?
It's a person.
Ridiculous. So that's how I feel about portfolio reviews. Like take time to create your style, your voice, and figure out what the fuck it is you want to do.
Yeah. How do you find a voice? Like
just do the work.
Winogrand.
Just do the work.
Zealot, exactly, right? What Elvin
that
said.
Influences.
You just do the work. You try what you think is going to be good. What you don't like
Even
about
if it's not good, it could still be your voice and it could be good later. We all know photographs age and art ages, like it's like this shit changes contextually all the time. You know what I mean? So it's just like, all the time you look back at old photographs, you're like, damn, this one was actually a fucking banger and I didn't see it at the time. You know what I mean? Like, so like that's like, make the work, do the work, right? And then I firmly believe that it's like, like your subconscious will speak to you, right? Like, what are you fixated on? What are you taking pictures of all the time? And then a body of work evolves from that,
Oh, I mean, yeah, becoming more abstract, of course, but like, what does it mean to see something good in your art? I agree with you. I've felt that intuition, you know?
Well, like, what does it mean to see something? Like, do you like it? Because if you like it, then it's good, right? That should mean a
I
lot.
don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm just never satisfied.
Okay, well, here, like,
I think you are hard to satisfy, my guy. Like to a hard read on you, I think you are pretty fucking hard to satisfy.
Baggage, baby.
what, are you trying to like ultimately sell your photographs, or just like have like, or are you content with just having them stored somewhere in a deep dark place?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, and this is, I think for me personally, this is the problem. I think that definitely by 2018, 2019, I associated good with sellable 100%. You know, I was trying to put on shows. I wanted people to pay me exorbitant amount of money. I was one step away before I got sick of actually like trying to do another portfolio review to go in front of galleries. And then, you know, cynically and probably incorrectly, I started thinking how I detest this idea of having to sell myself like in a paragraph, right? This is my vision and this is what my work's supposed to represent. And, you know, it's kind of hypocritical because that's exactly where I was going anyways. But what happened after that when I had to take my break is I started liking the pictures I took 4 years prior more, right? I would find the shit that you and I did, like when we were walking around the street, when we were just having a fucking good time being two Asian dudes taking pictures. And I started thinking, oh, well, this is much better than the thing. You know, if I look at it now, I don't know if I would feel the same. Like you guys are making this point. It's constantly shifting. You know, it's contextual. But listening to you, I'm just not sure, right? Like I'm not in the I sell my photograph space maybe ever again, or at least not right now. So I don't know what a good photograph is anymore. You know, we talked about that thing you sent me with that picture of the fucking canyon that sold for 60 million, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
20 million bucks. It's
These
like,
nuts.
what is that? But that's the world a lot of people dream of being in.
Yeah, and that's an entirely different world, you know? Like, I was in LA recently, like, epicenter of the Western world, arguably, you know? And it's just like, you go there, it's just like, it's a different fucking world, man. Like, the lows are fucking low and the highs are fucking high. Like, I see guys 2 G's on their sleeves on tats, for sure. Like, designer fucking sleeves. And they're on the street cracked out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's insane, you know, like it's just a different world. That's like obviously, I don't know. And this is one of the things I think that's important kind of to talk about too, contextually is like, I think Canada is also starting to realize that we're not America, like, and we can't do those things. Like those things are not real. And we're learning to lean on ourselves and our communities more because like international shipping is fucking insane and the USD is insane. I walked in $1,200 Canadian, change it to American to go to LA for a weekend.
Like $600 bucks.
$1.
I walked out with $800, dude. I went in there with a rack.
You have to pay them.
I went in there with a rack and I walked out with less than a G. And I was like, "Fuck this, man! Like that's my money. Like I worked hard for that shit. You know, like what the fuck? You know, it hurt, man." So it's like I don't know. I think we're quickly realizing that like that's not the world and playground we play in. You know, like 60 million for a canyon shot is like I don't know, like It's insane. You know, like, what?
That's the speculative part. It's like it's not the work itself. It's not.
Right.
It's
But
a
I mean,
story
like,
around it.
I participate a lot in like playing Magic, the Gathering, like the card game, and I got like friends deep in those trenches, big communities, and it's the same shit, right? It's just like I would argue that Magic cards are like literally the first NFTs. You know, it's art on a fucking physical paper card, and then you know like people trade them. You know, and then they have a price on them after because they're so old and they're sought after.
Well, here's the thing about that,
shit.
just quickly. Like when I was growing up, that was baseball cards, and
Pokemon
comics,
cards, right?
right? But that actually is affected by the for real markets, though, because back in when I was like 12, I think that's Spider-Man 1, Tom McFarlane, and the gold edition 5 years later was worth like $1,000 if you got first print. But I looked at that recently, and you can buy them for $20 now. Fine art's impervious to that, which is weird, right? It doesn't deflate with cultural context.
Right.
It's very strange for the most part. I don't know.
I think the really old shit has value in it because it's really fucking old and like the work is
It's really fucking old, exactly.
really
Yeah.
fucking old and the work is incredible. But like pop art shit, I think that's where we conflate the two, where things get confusing. Because you see like, you know, as you mentioned, like Instagram screenshots of other people's Instagrams selling for like egregious
Whatever.
prices, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you're like, huh, like should my shit be worth that?
Yeah. And the answer in reality is no.
Yeah.
But the answer in my mind is yes, fucking why not? Why can't I get $60 million for this?
But like, why
picture I
should you
took?
though?
Yeah, well, and so this is the entitlement piece. I don't know. The separation between want, desire, necessity, I don't know, all of that stuff. But what it means to get what you think you want and settle for what you need, I don't know.
I should ask, like, at what price point are you going to be okay with? Are you going to be like completely satisfied? Because for me, it's like
system never.
Because for me, it's a matter of the costs, right? Like the costs of production. So I need paper, I need ink, I need darkroom supplies, right? If you pay for that, then I'll do the labor or whatever. There is value in labor, but ultimately I just want my shit to be somewhere else aside from in my hands.
Yeah, I can agree with that. For me, like, it's just like, it's not even about physical cost and shit like that. It's about like, does someone actually want a piece that I made? Like that's the basic fundamental thing that drives me, like, and I will make it affordable for them. An interesting thing to talk about here too is like tattooers and tattoo culture that's also changing, where like a lot of tattooers now also charge you on a scale. You know what I mean? As opposed to just like a straight up price. Now, obviously, this isn't the case everywhere, but a lot of the people I've talked to kind of like now do a scale and be like, hey, like minimum is 150, maximum's 450. Like however much you want to put in between that, I'm not going to judge you, right? Because it's also like,
what does that mean? Like, it's not based on complexity or size. It's based on you pay what you feel you want to pay.
It is based on complexity on size still, right? So like if you spend a 3-hour session, it might be like, minimum is 5. Right, maximum 15, right? But like there's a scale now that like people just kind of approach you with, as opposed to just straight up giving you a price. Because I mean, like this is kind of the whole thing about like once again getting into like divorcing your practice from money, because like I think personally that's important to move.
But isn't
forward.
that even more entrenched in money? Why is there? So what determines the scale? I mean, like if I went to a coffee shop, let's say we went to Johnny and Bobby's fourth generation, a new level of coffee. Right? Fourth wave coffee. And you go up to the thing, he says, well, the drip's either $2 or $8. Right? Like what, so in tattoo, in like your example, what drives the price difference? Is it skill? Is it complexity? Or is it literally the same tattoo?
It's you.
I think like the way I view this is, I think a coffee shop is different because now you have to I guess it depends where you're getting tattooed, right? Obviously they have a rental space or whatever. I think ultimately, as far as photographs go, or like any art or craft that you legitimately enjoy doing, I think the minimum price that you should set things at is how much do I need to be able to continue to do the work, right? Because for film, obviously you need more because film is expensive. But for like digital photos, that's free, but you still need the paper, you still need the ink.
You need hard drives, you need computer to like edit it, right? Like there's still like extra.
You need your time, right? You need your expertise. You need your ability and flexibility to even move around. Like Danny's going to go out tonight, which is really.
We're just taking photography because we enjoy it, and then whatever someone likes, you just price it out like after that. Because otherwise, you're talking about an actual gig like weddings and shit, where like you need to get paid for your labor. But as far as like art goes, you're already doing the work, right? And then,
but isn't that after the problem?
That, no,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Shouldn't we be thinking about it as
in
a
a
gig?
Strictly like capitalistic, I'm here for fucking motherfucking monetary gains? That is the problem. Yes, I completely agree. Is that you're doing the work anyway. However, like I don't know, like this goes to your point earlier about like we can't exist outside the system. I certainly agree with that. We cannot, but you can still take steps to distance yourself from the epicenter, and that shows in my personal opinion. There was an interesting thing about I read earlier about like the Nuremberg trials and some of the stuff that they kind of did with like the Holocaust war criminals about like, at what division does an SS officer show responsibility for the atrocities they committed? And, there were SS officers, for example, that resigned, that were like, I'm not going to do this. Like, this is not okay. I'm taking a stance. And then they got pushed over to like the office group, and they're still working there, but they actively were like, hey, I'm not going to partake in the massacre of this Jewish population, and then they got reduced sentences, so like, I think it matters the choices you make to distance yourself from this like massive capitalist epicenter, right? It's easy to get sucked into it. Absolutely. Because like, yeah, I want enough money to take care of my mom. I want enough money to take care of my family. I want to make sure that there's always food on the fucking table, of course, right? But you know, it matters on how you get that bag and how you're gonna like approach the whole thing, you know?
Yeah. This is like,
and that is a Hitler argument, so I do apologize.
No, whatever.
this is, and I don't want to like dox myself or anything, so we could take this off the record, but
Alan's always worried about how he's going to appear.
no, like this is how I work in oil and gas. Like I'm a drafter. I do design work, right? But I just happen to be good at it. I don't agree that our government is essentially lobbied by oil companies and literally the entire world, right? But I still exist under that, and I have to survive. Otherwise, like I have no other skills.
This is what I was saying about a band
that's
opening.
not entirely true.
No, this is what I was saying about a band opening for a white supremacist group. Like that's not okay, but you know, you shouldn't judge, like if their values don't align with the band they're opening for, and the band, like this white supremacist band, it's not a confirmed or unconfirmed, just rumors that this band is, you know.
That counters your Nuremberg trial argument.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so. Yeah, it
the
does.
Nuremberg
it does.
trial argument would mean that this band should be happy to receive their lower sentence of being poor because they stuck up for their ideals.
Correct.
Not that they conceded their ideals so they can further their career, right?
Yeah.
So
certainly.
No, I mean, I don't mean to make this into a debate about what you guys are saying. I guess my point is just like trying to listen to you guys and trying to figure out what is an acceptable rebellion against this culture of commodifying art.
Just
right?
do you.
That's up to you. Yeah, that's up to you, man. If you're not happy, you need to figure out ways to express that.
If we don't coordinate, which is half the problem with revolutionary action, and we all have different intent and modus of operandi, then nothing happens. I mean, it diffuses the intent. You know, if my revolution is to become a gig economy photographer, like a corporate portrait photographer or a commercial photographer, because I can still practice photography, do art on the side, and get paid, that's different than a person that's going to wait till they die and have their box unopened and people missed out on a genius. And maybe my generational wealth goes to my surviving heirs. I mean, I don't even know how that fucking works. You know, who owns those pictures anymore? But then we end up in the same space, right? The next generation of photographers get stuck too.
Well, I think anyone's gonna any artist is gonna struggle with their work regardless. But I think you compare like a wedding photographer doing art on the side and then just someone doing the shit and waiting until they die. But it's like, who's going to get burned out faster and what matters more to you? Are you looking to get the bag early on? And it's not even going to be much like in the grand scheme of things. Or are you just going to like do what you enjoy doing and like don't even worry about it?
It's a tough one. My psychiatrist asked me this question. Would I rather be poor waiting for someone to buy like a picture of mine for 15 grand? Or would I take a job doing pushing a button at a photo booth if they're going to pay me $6,000 a month doing it? And so that's a complex question because it's basically challenging me on what's the level in which I'll quote unquote sell myself.
First of
right?
all, if anyone is going to offer you $6 a motherfucking month to click a shutter, you take that job.
You take that shit.
Yeah, but this is the point. This is the point of being
$6.
I know.
Dude.
But this is the point of the argument is that, you know, if I said, well, I'll never take the $6,000, which is, I think he started off at like $1,000, and I was like, I don't know if that's enough.
That's being idealistic, though. Like,
yes,
true, but it also is basically, I think the purpose was to challenge my
thought process,
resistant, ideologies or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like my negative self-talk, which we can agree is particularly problematic for
extremely Korean.
But here's the thing: well, if you want to talk about culture. So it's not so much that I want to argue that you guys are doing anything wrong. I think you guys are doing everything right. I'm just kind of stuck thinking, why isn't it good enough for me?
So,
right? Like, I don't take pictures anymore, right? I agree with everything you guys are saying on both sides, and I don't take pictures. I'm about to start a new career in a completely different field, but I love photography too. It's weird. Like,
I think you can still love photography without picking up a camera, my guy. And second of all, like the other big thing is like, straight up, like, and when you do, it will be a momentous occasion, I have a thought about like the whole like revolution thing and like how we're not really moving towards, because we're not unified in any one way. One of the things that I think is important here is like capitalism itself is like it's like a vampire. It's like Dracula. It's like it's unkillable in a sense. It's so old and rooted and this ancient evil, and like, you know, there's just no way to really bring about its proper destruction. So like, I think when you take it into your own hands and you protest in the ways that you can protest in, or you move away from, it's just death by 1,000 cuts. And we're starting to see that, you know, the system's bleeding and bleeding bad, you know? And so like, that's what I mean. Like, so it's everyone taking the time to take little cuts out of the system, because there's no way to destroy this juggernaut outright. You know, it's just these tiny little incisions each time that bleed it. How are us three going to unify in a single will and purpose to take down this system without, you know, guns and shit, which we're not going to do? You know what I mean? Like, that's insane, right?
It might be required. Yeah. That's the red shirt, black.
Yeah,
right?
that's like for me, again, I'm a strong pacifist, so I don't think that's ever going to be the answer. That's just going to create another cycle and another vacuum where, you know, the rich wins because they have more resources than you.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
You either bleed until you can't bleed, and they run out of money, right? So it's just death by 1,000 cuts.
Have we ever had an egalitarian society? I'm not sure. So that's my fear. It's like, am I standing too hard on this line of being defiant to it that I'm actually getting in the way of me making money? You know, I don't know.
Just got a job, dude.
I got one. I finally got
You're
one.
so up on your bootstraps, my guy.
Yeah,
no,
I finally got one.
like on the real though, the reason why my views are vastly different from yours is because like I have a full-time job and I'm still able to do photography on the side. Albeit like I don't do it as much anymore, but I still have the means to do it because I don't have to worry about being a starving artist or whatever. Like I didn't make it my work. It's like how like someone who starts off rich, right? Like they got an inheritance. They can just be an artist and just do their own thing because they don't have to worry about the bare minimum, right? Like they have their basic means.
Does that imply that art is the expression of privilege?
In a capitalist society, yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the real here,
Totally.
the thing is for me, like, is it even a position of privilege at that point? You know what I mean? Like I can make this cash, right? I'm 33. I need a fucking job. You know what I mean? I gotta go work, right? And I was just like, all right, like, so I'll go do it.
I guess my quick overview thought of that is fucking income is complex.
Yeah,
It's complex.
If I got fired from my job, then I absolutely wouldn't be able to take as many photographs. If anything, I have to sell my cameras just to get by.
What we push ourselves and do to make bank, to make money, you know, is kind of fucking insane in the 20th century. You know, when we're talking about hustle culture, when we're talking
21st.
like 21st, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think
We should follow that up with a talk with Stefan, who's a photojournalist and a journalist, to just align that next level of using photography as a journalistic tool, but also one that's cultural forming, right? It's
yeah, like agitprop.
interesting.
Yeah, and I think like there's a lot of dichotomy there though. Like I think like a lot of like for me, I'm always towing the line between like art and photojournalism, and I think like that's kind of where I want to exist. And I think like lots of other photojournalists obviously exist in that space, but it's just like sometimes you trend towards a little bit more journalistic side and you're working in the newspaper, and then sometimes you trend on the other side, you know?
Alvin brought up image making. I mean, what do you think, Alvin? Like, is there not a journalistic side to Kiddo, or is that not image making? Like, where does that exist on this spectrum? Photography's art is such a weird thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think your problem with it is that the way you frame your views is always rooted in like some sort of monetary gain, where it's just like
transactional. It's transactional.
You could just
transactional.
yeah,
That's a good word.
yeah. Where you could just remove that completely and just have the work by itself and think, oh, what can I do with this? Like what how can I transform these things that I took and then like make it into something else? Like how can I make it into something that's into ideas that I can communicate into how I feel at the moment? Because the great thing with photography is, and this is like with project making as well, editing ultimately, because editing itself it really is an art form, because you can take all these photos that you previously took and then just like rearrange them in certain ways to like make something completely different. Like I've repurposed a lot of the photos I did in Kiddo into, you know, short little Instagram slides. And each time I've reposted them, like they turned out to me something completely different.
Yeah, so I have this new job as I'm trained to become an impact producer for documentary films. And one of the concepts is differentiating between transactional and transformative experiences, right? Particularly when we're talking about documentary films versus feature films. So that's a good observation. I am definitely stuck on that. Everything's transactional.
You're thinking of it as transactional because you currently live under a system where transactions is the norm, like it's the baseline.
Do you think of all your relationships as transactional?
Well, I don't want to say yes, but I think I do. I honestly think that I do.
No, I think it takes courage to say yes. So like kudos, bravo. Like I don't know, man. Like you just be honest with yourself, right? Like
I can't say that every interaction I have is transactional purely, right? Like this transaction is transformative. I get information from you guys and lived experiences that will affect how I move forward. It's not necessarily a trading of commodities, like in a purely capitalistic language. But I don't know, if I look at attention as a commodity, how much of my art was transactional? Because I just wanted someone to tell me I did a good job. I don't know, right? That it's complex because it's not necessarily. I don't know, it's a blurry line. I'm not sure.
I think Alvin kind of nailed this on the head earlier, and I kind of do this too. Where it's like the person who has to like your work is you. You know, like that's the person who needs to like it. You shouldn't be making. And I see a lot of photographers do this. Like they're trying to make work that other people will like.
Well, then why show it at all?
This gets into this whole thing too with the digital age and Instagram and stuff like that. That I had a conversation with one of my close friends with too, and she told me, when she's looking at my photographs, she's like, you're already doing art in your own space. Like you don't need to do it anywhere else. Like what you're doing there is already like awesome, and we love seeing that. So like in a lot of ways, especially in Instagram and this digital age that we live in, when you have your own digital space, you can put what you want on it and do what you want on it. And there shouldn't be any judgment there at all. Like I'm putting it there because I want to put it there. And to be perfectly candid, often when I'm posting on Instagram, I'm posting because I feel pretty shitty or I feel pretty low or I feel emotional in one way or another. And I could use the dopamine from friends. And it's kind of like a check-in, being like, hey, this is kind of where I'm at emotionally. This is kind of where I'm at right now. This is how I'm feeling. And, if you're vibing with it, maybe hit like, and that's cool. And if you're not, that's fine too, because I'm putting this here for me, and I had to get it out of my system in one way or another. And it helps me, because it is my own digital space, right? Like I get to curate it. And so there's an element of control and agency there that is important. And that, like, as much as disgusting as Instagram is, right, it's still your own space. So you can do what you want on it, right? Like, there shouldn't be any judgment for wanting to post pictures on a platform that lets you post pictures. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah. Well, not now anyway. Instagram's totally different than
4
years ago.
But fundamentally, for me, it still works the same.
Yeah.
Because like, I get what I want out of it still. You know what I mean? Because I don't need to interact with all the other shit. Even though I'm being fed memes all day, all the time, from 18 different sources, and weirdly about the things I talk about. You know what I mean? Like, whoa!
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. But like, it's still a platform for me to just put whatever work I want to, however I'm feeling emotionally, out there, and like that's okay.
Something to sit on. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think for time? We're pretty.
Yeah, we're deep.
It's pretty long. Yeah,
we could do a part 2. Like,
all
totally
this stuff we're gonna have to keep coming back to because we certainly cannot claim we solved anything.
Are we trying to solve things?
I don't know. I'm talking about like.
So I would argue that through some of the conversations we had, I think it's like if emerging artists are listening or whatever, photographers, it's like like start small and do it for you. Like you had admitted earlier that maybe it was toxic that you were trying to go big so quick. You know what I mean? Maybe like
sure,
right?
Yeah.
So like maybe
I end on top of my own character weaknesses that it fed into. That absolutely, yeah. Which is not to blame the person that gave me that advice. It's just right. It's just a convergence.
That advice might have worked for them. Absolutely. And like there's nothing wrong with offering advice, right? So it's just like for me personally, it's like and I think Alvin was vibing too. It's just like like you have to start from the smaller space of like creating work that you want to see out there, and then seeing if it sticks to anyone. And it's okay that it doesn't either. Like you're doing it for you. I hope.
I guess like Do you like your work now, David?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you guys know I don't post anything.
Hmm.
You know why that's an interesting. So part of this new training program, and there's this like a open space where you can post whatever you want, like a poem or a meme or a quote or whatever. And so I took, I don't know why, intuitively, I posted that last image that I've posted of a amalgam of, I think it's a tree off of Deerfoot, well, Highway 2 as I was being driven to Lethbridge, which is maybe to answer your question, like I do like that image that I built. I think that it's reflective of where my headspace has been in the last 5 years.
Why did you post it?
I don't know. And this is the weird thing about intuitive emotional responses. I mean, I'm putting myself in front of 5 people I don't know very well, which I'm going to become well known with them. We meet twice a week, and we're going to build projects together. But it is an awkward one, right? Because that means I'm forcing myself to have to explain it too. It's not even that self-evidentiary. It's not like a fucking bio or a self-portrait or anything. It's almost egotistical in a way. I'm like showing how cool my art is. Like I don't even know. I kind of regret it. I was thinking about deleting it after because I was like, I don't even know why that happened. So
I feel that all the time. Yeah, I feel that all the time.
it's a great question. Do I like my work? Apparently I do, because I'm not hiding it, but I am hiding it from Instagram, and I haven't shared anything with you guys since I had you look at that book I was creating. It's it's complex. Okay. It's a complex question.
I guess like my next question is like, if you like it and you're happy about it, like are you okay with just having it exist, or do you need to have it out there?
You know what? I think the latter, because there's a level of idealism that wants me to think that just because I made it, I feel cool about it, but that's not true, because if nobody sees it, then I don't know that it exists. I think, and
yeah.
it's a weird, it's a weird thought experiment. I think there are obviously images that all of us create that will never see the light of day for whatever reason, whether they're good or not. I don't know. That just happens, especially in a digital era where they sit on these fucking abstract hard drives as electronic data. Do they even exist? If I forget that I even have it in a Lightroom library from 2017, like, is it real? We brought this metaphor, right? The tree falls in the forest.
It exists. It's just not noticed yet. Right?
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, I think like that's where like the cloud changes things, right? Like compared to like a regular hard drive on your computer, which is kind of separate from the network. When you start to put things in if we ever move towards like a strictly cloud based architecture all the time forever, which I mean I can definitely see us moving towards as a race, then it exists for sure in the cloud, but in a separate hard drive that might enter a landfill, arguable whether or not that exists, So especially if you never back it up or whatever, right?
Did it have value in its creation, or once it's thrown out, is it just nothing?
I mean, I think that's the biggest
value.
question about digital photography and photography in the digital age, right? And I think like that's why I'm always telling my friends and stuff like what matters when you're taking the photograph, and obviously like this is a humongous question that is kind of insurmountable for some people all the time, but helps simplify things. Is like, what's your output? Like, what do you want to do with this photograph? Like, where do you ideally see it going? Right. And so like,
do you guys set that intention before you take a picture, or do you get that after you look at what you've made?
I set that intention when I do projects. Like, so like this scanning project right now is like, I wanted to like, cause for me, I'm always thinking about a book, because like, that's where I think photographs, like I want my photographs to exist in books, right? Like that's what I like. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to build towards. Right. So like, that's generally what I'm thinking about when I'm doing output. But when I'm just shooting to shoot with my camera on me that I bring with me, then, that's not necessarily into the equation. That's more emotional stimuli response, right?
Yeah, for me, it's a completely different route. I shoot first, and then I ask questions later, right? I just do the work, and then I think about what I'm going to do afterwards. And what I do afterwards, it's literally like the world is my oyster, because like I mentioned earlier, David, like I can take multiple different, like the same photo and sequence it in many different ways with other photos, and I'll create something brand new.
Yeah, I completely agree with that too. And like that's kind of what I've been doing with frames. Like I have 2 frames that are going to be going up in the plus 15 in May. And
Nice.
I've been experimenting a lot with ripping my photographs and like turning them into paper balls and then like unraveling them. Right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like, there's like so much more. Like I don't know. Like once you print the photograph, there's an entire conversation too, right? And like for me, that conversation is always about being a person of color and being like, because it's like it's so hard. Like we had this discussion too, where it's like, is everything you make always kind of tied to who you are? So everything we make is always Asian art. You know, it's always Filipino art. It's always Korean art. You know, like you can't escape it, right?
Mine is white. Yeah, I'm pretty white.
You say that, but like it's still going to be viewed, right? But like it's still going to be viewed as through a lens of a Korean Canadian, right? Like this was like that's how they're going to promote you. That's like the words that are going to be used to sell or promote your work, right? All identity, right?
Yes.
And it's like that has its pros and cons, and there's no getting away from it. Yeah. I think like that's one of the I don't know, like privileges when I was talking to like some of my white friends about it. It's like their work never has to be put onto that lens or that pedestal or anything. You know, their work.
It does now. It does now. From now on, it will. Yeah, especially if they're not taking pictures of other white people. It will. Yeah, people do ask that question now, but traditionally. Yeah, the colonial.
Well, traditionally, like that's like the context, right? Like the historical backdrop of that is like you, if you existed as a white photographer, could make any work you pleased, you know, and it wasn't colored. It was never colored. It existed in this place above color, you know, which is like our work can never touch that, you know.
To tangent off on like identity and like how your work is being made, like whether it's really you or not. Yeah, like I just want to add to that. Like you can also view other photographers' work or like other mediums and then take that as inspiration. So it's not really you. It's a culmination of things that you like and how you output it. Like in the b-boy scene, we'd have a thing called biting, right?
Yeah.
Where you like steal someone else's move, but then there's a way of flipping it. If you flip the move, you take the same base concept and flip it to something that suits your style. Then it's not theirs anymore. It's like it's yours. You just reappropriated it, and then that's like photography in general. You're really just reappropriating life. We're coming full circle again. Like you take the thing that you think is interesting, and then you transform it into something completely new.
Well, you put 4 lines around it is what we're literally doing, right?
Yeah.
So like you take the thing that you like, you put 4 lines around it, and you're like, look at this.
Yeah.
This isn't, and it's not even real. You know, like that. Like none of that's even real, right? Like it's like.
Well, that's a good concept to think about, Danny. If you're thinking of marring those 4 lines when you present your work, I mean, shattering the glass is one thing, but if you're talking about rolling up your picture in a ball, there is a meta thing to consider about breaking up that context too.
Let me see if the webcam can show you guys it.
Show a photograph as a crumpled piece of paper on the floor, right? Pop art. Nice.
Oh yeah.
There's what was I just reading? Capitalist realism.
Oh, Mark Fisher.
Yeah, man. Danny,
Yeah,
that's where you're trending.
R.I.P.
I don't know. Like for me, like this is rice paper. I wanted to kind of showcase like the strength of rice paper because rice paper doesn't like if you crumple like normal photo paper, it'll just rip, right? And so I kind of wanted like as this just meta commentary for like the resiliency of immigrants and the resiliency of like moving places and like how you can hold up to like the damage and how that changes and affects kind of what you look like after because of what you've gone through, you know. So like I think the rice paper kind of informed that because and then also on a purely like candid sense, like when we printed on the rice paper, none of the printers have like good profiles for rice paper because rice paper is weird, which is like I think hilarious. All these Western printers can't print on rice, which is like
yeah.
There's like
I don't think Asian printers are printing on rice.
No, sure.
This is the thing about being counter racist. That's a little hater.
Okay, fine. Thanks
it's
for
a
the
rare
call.
medium.
Appreciate it. But it's like there's like it's there, and then it was like the colors are like never quite right. So I was like, you know what? Like, why don't we take it, crumple it, destroy it more, and see what ends up happening, right?
Well, even that in itself has its own context that the colors aren't right?
Exactly.
All right. Just make sure your rice paper is organic. Otherwise, people are going to be upset about it.
Yeah,
non-GMO
just
rice.
peel a bunch of white rabbits and slap it together.
All right, I gotta go. But
Okay.
so we solved capitalism.
We solved
today.
it.
Yeah,
We did it,
that's
boys.
good.
We did it, boys. Death by 1,000 cuts.
We've completely discredited the formal art market because I mean they're not gonna be able to hold their value based on our discussion.
No.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, like
Insightful.
ultimately they're just moving money around, right? Like
That's the other context, right? It's
Yeah.
like these things move for 60 million because the money needs to move.
It's not about
Like-
it just needs to be moved. They're like,
laundering,
it's not that
for
they
sure.
like it or anything. They're just like, oh, how can I fucking move 65 million offshore?
Yeah, I need to move 65 mil ASAP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Well, there-
across the globe.
There's I don't remember the names of some of the other art dealers, but there's a strong intentionality coming out of the 30s to move art appreciation intentionally to the new upper class that wasn't the pre-existing, right? Like bourgeois class. So the new money in America, which is why American sales leapfrog everybody else coming out of the Depression. There's a context that it didn't go down during the Depression, which tells us a lot about the one percenters, that they were not poor in 1929, despite all the stories of stockbrokers committing suicide and shit like that. But that is the same era where artists became living, could live with their wealth from these sales. So I don't know. It's a very strange.
The one
Very
thing that's
strange
missing
thing.
from this conversation, and we can get into part 2 or whatever, part 3, whatever, fuck, whatever. It's like we didn't talk about the Greek system of like patrons and stuff like that. That system walked first so that artists could have bread and so that we can run
Sure.
now. You know what I mean, kind of thing, right? It's like if you're talking about the entire historical context of artists being able to eat, right? It's like there was a patron system within ancient Greek and Rome as well, where, you know, like you would be a patron of an artist, right? And so you paid for them to live and eat, and then they would create work, you know? And I would even argue that system was more pure than what we have now, right?
Capitalism. There is a capital market. There's a class market there. So
It sounds more like a barter system to me.
like they had more.
Like it was like
They had more to
like
trade.
more free trade, right? Like
Yeah.
like I give you basic living, you give me art because it's.
I mean, it still happens, right? Like, I think Johnny Depp's done that. Like, I remember Johnny Depp reading something about Johnny Depp doing this, but it's like he gave his summer home to an artist to make work. You know, it's just like, I like your work. I want to be your patron. Like, I'm ultra super wealthy, so I can afford to do this. So fucking go live in this place. I'll stock it with food, make art. That's all that matters to me, you know? And like obviously that's extremely idealistic. No, Johnny Depp ain't gonna pick up any of us on the street and be like, "Yo, my guy, go to my summer house," you know. But
I need Johnny
Counter.
Sins to pick me up and
That one's more complex. Is that patronage or is that PR? I don't know. It's
I
interesting.
mean, it can be both,
Yeah.
you know. So like, it certainly like I think PR exists because like anything can be PR. So like it, you know, like the way you spin it matters, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna keep you going here forever. So
Yeah.
like, if you gotta go,
Oh, yeah, we'll go. Final point on PR. Think of grants in that term, and you will find a different language that'll be more suitable.
yeah, fuck grants on God, man. Fuck that.
No, you need it. If you're
On
gonna
God,
go
for real,
chase
for real.
gangland murders, you're gonna need grants.
Whatever,
Someone's got to
man.
pay your hospital bills, buddy.
Whatever, man. Fuck
Especially
it.
after Danielle Smith wins again.
Hell yeah,
Hell
brother.
yeah. Hell yeah,
I can't
brother.
wait for austerity to